guys, I got the rough today. Going to get my VIR set up. I got off a base. I made off a baseline. I forgot all about that. Because VIR worked pretty well from the McLaren. Now I didn't like the Porsche as much as I did the McLaren at VIR, so it probably won't feel as good right off the bat. But I haven't driven the car for about a week, so definitely taking it easy when getting up to speed here. Really wish we had an actual transmission model that worked. I really do. Man, the last thing I played was P cars last night. Look, I'm freaking, you see I'm pushing in when I'm shifting because the cars I was driving last night were all like old. I did it again. Because all the cars are old H pattern type cars. It's funny how much better the force feedback feels in iRacing compared to P cars. Like, I can understand what's going on in P cars, but the cars just feel like they're empty box. Said it well in his video that cars feel like they have deflated tires. The graphics are amazing though. I was driving through the rain at like, I put it on like light rain in the morning, and it was, it's actually on my YouTube channel. Look towards, watch the end, watch the, it's an open cockpit car. Watch, look how good that looks at the end. It's pretty amazing. It didn't feel too bad either, but I was using my Porsche rim. I wasn't using my Formula rim on that last car. I should have been using my Formula rim, but they're two different games. They're, you know, they're going for two different markets, so they're really not even in competition with each other. It's like, this is your race car, and then that's your Ferrari or whatever you go take out in the canyon on a Sunday or something. That's kind of, it's kind of how P cars feels to me. That's how iRacing feels. Tell you what, this car was kind of unstable at top speed. Probably has a lot to do with my toe settings. Alright, why don't we get some tab action going, huh? There we go. Of course, I had to choose an Australian server. But no, I seriously went to a server nobody was in, and this was one of them. But we're doing it proper. We're at Bathurst on an Aussie server. It's funny, in the testing session in one of the houses, there's no cars in the front yard, and then practice session, there's cars in the front yard. I wonder what he charges to park. Probably makes a fortune. Excuse me. That's not as... No, it's too early to say anything. Just gonna keep driving. Doesn't feel terrible, but I'm really not pushing too hard yet. A little understeer through there, though. Does feel like I could put more toe in the rear, just because it just feels like it has toe out. It feels like it's kind of, the rear end's not. I should have done that at VIR, but I was kind of burnt out after doing like 3.5 hours of work on this car, knowing I had to do other stuff. See how it's kind of swaying back and forth like this, though? That's like instability, either in the front end or the rear end. It's hard to tell for me. It feels like the rear end, though. It just basically feels like there's toe out in the rear. So I'll check that after I do some laps. So this should be an okay lap. See what kind of time it is. 2:08.3. Gotta pick that up. Okay, so that wasn't an okay lap. That was a really slow lap. I should be like, yeah, at least 6s, low 6s, at least. I'll see here. Wasn't really paying attention much last lap. Probably can make up a lot of time. I think one of the biggest problems with the Porsche is just how bouncy this front end is, and just with all the bumps on this track, it's just really hard to get a car that feels settled. Just, you're always waiting for it to calm down. Maybe I can do something with high-speed dampening. Get that to just be a little bit more stable and not so... I don't even know what the word is, it's just busy and needs a lot of attention. Sliding, sliding, sliding. Whoa. Okay, so right out of the, I mean the front, the front is just bouncing around all the time. I'm just waiting for it to like settle down and. Whew. Got some work ahead of me. Okay, so the toe and. The little toe, I'm gonna put a little bit more tone because that's just, I need to see if I can get some more stability going down the. Actually, I'm gonna do more toe out. That's what I'm actually doing here. So just getting these front tires out a little bit more, that'll help with stability. And then I'll also help with turn-in, because when you're turning into the corner, this tire is already pointed into that corner, so it'll kind of pull it that way. And then as this tire begins to turn into the corner, then this tire is turned in even more, so you get this oversteer rotation effect. And in the rear, I'm going to add another click of toe-in just to get the tires to point in a little bit more to get it to stabilize the rear end a little bit more. So let's do, I'm gonna soften up the springs. Let's see what the ride heights are. 65.8, 112.7, 65.8, 112.7. So let's soften this up, because right now it's bouncing over everything. It's a nightmare. Not a nightmare, but not desirable. So let's get that back up to 65.8 and 112 point whatever. 8. That gets us 112.6, 65.6. We'll take it. Alright, so we kind of did a lot there, but I was attacking two different things at the same time to kind of save time. So straight line stability, let's see. A little better, it's still kind of darty though. And then we'll see how the softer springs do on bumps. Man, sorry. Just try and get the car to just be more compliant over the bumps, not be so harsh, soften up the suspension. So it's not bouncing off everything. Try and take the trampoline effect out of the car. Of course, it's just first couple corners on brand new tires, so everything feels really good right now. Oh, I wonder what, I gotta check my gears too, I forgot about that. Should be tall gears for here in the Porsche, I would think. It's more stable. It's still, I mean, it's barely even tell it's there. You probably wouldn't even notice it if I hadn't been talking about it before, but it's there, but it's very minute now. It's not like it was before. Like it was before, like you'd turn the wheel just barely, and then you'd feel the weight shift over onto the right side tire, and then you just barely turn it the other way, and then you'd feel the car's, you'd feel the car. You know, now it's not quite as dramatic. It felt a little bit better over those bumps. It was still giving me feedback, but that, I guess that's just what happens when you drive over bumps. You can't completely ignore the feeling of a bump. Wow, that's so much better through there. So much more just not fighting every little bump and trying to rip the steering wheel out of my hands. So that was just softer springs, so close to that wall right there. Yeah, feels pretty good right now. And really the key, not only being more comfortable, but the whole key to, you know, making the car more compliant is that you can do what you want to do sooner, which means you can go faster instead of having to wait for the car to settle back down and then do what you want to do. You can just do what you want to do when you want to do it. Yeah, so it looks like we will get into a 6-second bracket on this lap. I don't think it's going to be as fast as the McLaren. I think the McLaren is going to be a pretty hard car to beat the rest of the season. That was a successful adjustment change. Granted, I hadn't heard a lot of laps before, but just from the way it felt to the way it feels now, much better. Alright, so we'll put some couple laps on this. Start figuring out gears for corners and all that fun stuff now that I can actually think about driving the car instead of think about just keeping it on the track. Pretty much same as the McLaren, brake at that driveway right there, down to third. Maybe second sometimes through there. We'll try second next time, see how that does. Up here, brake right before I get to this apex, like right now. Down to second, swing out, come back in, get as close to that wall as you can. Now this curb, see, you don't really want to get super close to that right side of the wall because these cars just tend to launch off it and you waste a little time, so you know, just go a little bit outside of that apex. And then I'll lift off the throttle a little bit there, back on. Lift off a little bit at the top of the hill, wait for it, and then get back on. Up here, there's little color variations in the walls on the right. One of the cracks, it goes from like a different one shade of red to another shade of red. That's basically where I brake for that corner. All the way down to second, and back on. Up to fourth, back down to third, then second. The McLaren, sometimes I was doing first here, don't hit the wall. That was a little sloppy through there. Alright, let's see what the 6 gear is like by the time we get past the King. Again, I'm getting a little bit of that instability in the rear end, so I don't know, maybe try a little bit more towing in than the rear, but I don't want it to get to the point where it causes me more understeer and the rest. Alright, so breaking the 100 board marker this lap, down to third. Could be a second gear corner as well. If you got like a car in front of you, you need to check up a little bit and down in a second. And up here, I'm thinking breaking in between the 100 and the 50 board. Probably gonna be a little bit closer to 50 board. And again up here, close to a 50 board. And in second gear through the corner. And I didn't check my gearing on the end of the kink last lap. Not the best line through there. I mean, I was running like low fives in the race, but that was with the draft and the McLaren, so I need to be... I'd like to run like a 5.9 with this car. I really would. Might actually do more rear towing, because when I was getting into that corner I could feel the rear end kind of thinking about stepping out, so maybe a little rear end tow would help snug that up and then help to make the rear end more stable in the straightaways. Just a thought. It actually gets through there really nice. Gets through there really nice too. No, it's definitely not as easy as to drive as a McLaren, I'll tell you that right now. And into second. Great bite on the front tires through there. That was awesome. Again, getting a little bit of instability, rear steer, going down the straight. Alright, what's the gearing like? Gearing looks pretty good. I'm gonna go down to second this time. Just be a little more aggressive. And the braking didn't really pay out. It didn't really pay dividends for me. Alright, so I can run like mid sixes somewhat comfortably with minimal practice. Let's see if we can do a little bit better than that. Let's see, what's my fuel mileage right now? About 8.48 over the average of 5 laps. Maybe do some high-speed rebound adjustments for that corner so I can get on the throttle sooner. Nice and easy through here. Just so much stability with that rear engine coming out of these corners, so it's just really awesome. All that grip you have getting out of the corner is a pretty cool feeling. Again, it just really hooks around that corner beautifully. Set's really starting to feel good. A little fast, checking up speed. Get back online, beautiful. I think I'm on pace for a 5 right now, boys. Oh my gosh, that felt so good. Woo! I love it. Pace for a 5.6. I think we got a race car, boys. This is what I was running in the McLaren. So I forget everything I was saying about 5 minutes ago. Okay, we'll do third gear this time. Really don't ever want to touch that curb, but it's kind of hard because it's a blind corner to get that line perfect. Whew. I'm really happy with that lap. No, don't. I didn't want to. I wanted to stop, but I didn't want to slide like that because I want to see the temps of the tires. Because now I don't have an accurate number. Wow, they're pretty low. Look how low those are. 177. Actually, that's not super low. Never mind, I'm chirping. Alright, so we'll save that, because that is fast. Or stable. It was a good set. It's a good baseline. Put it that way. Okay. Now. Let's do some experimentation. I'm just gonna try and make it a little bit softer. Go one more click on the spring. See, I think I'm pretty much making the car as soft as I can now. So let's just do that. Worked well last time. Might as well do everything. Won't hurt to try it. Go one click there, one click there, one click there, one click there, because we're just adjusting the car for, I mean, whenever you put softer springs in a car, obviously the spring's not going to be strong enough to hold the car up as high as it was before, so the car is going to sag a little bit, so you actually have to change a spring perch to move the whole thing back up to where your previous ride heights were. So 65.5, 112.5, beautiful. For spacious skies. Amber waves of grain. Alright, let's do this thing. Wait, I just realized something. Sorry, guys. I just looked at my OBS and realized how messed up my screen is. My apologies. No idea how it got like that. Just give me a minute. It's gonna take me a minute to align this because you have to do it by hand. Because technology. Or my ignorance. You guys are getting a really extreme field of view. See, this is what I can capture, but I only capture that little middle screen because it'd be way too much data. You guys a little inside look on the behind the scenes of OBS. This software is so cool though. It really is. Except for this part. This is like the only cumbersome part about the software. And it's just probably ignorance on my part and not exactly knowing what I should be doing. Go get yourself something to drink, some chips. Back in a minute. I think I got it. Maybe go over just tick. A tick. Alright, that's it. Sorry about that, guys. Guys probably seen crickets on the track. My field of view is so zoomed in. Oops. I gotta, hold on, sorry. One more. Minor thing, gotta do. Alright, everything looks back to normal. Oh, except I got my chat menu up in there again for absolutely no reason. Alright. Now, so we went a little bit softer on the springs. See if it just helped out a little bit more. It's made this car a little bit more compliant over those bumps. Everything looks good, cool. Sorry about that, guys. At least I figured it out. Oh man, if you could only feel the G-forces. Because I just went around that one corner so stuck to the ground. It's the biggest trip when you actually drive a really, like this one time I got to drive a Porsche Cayman S, which, you know, a couple years ago, I'm just Currently has like 300 and some odd horsepower. It just had the right amount of horsepower. You know, you couldn't really break the tires loose in like second or third on acceleration through corners. But I remember just getting getting on ramps, and then just like those big like 360-degree on ramps, and then just getting on it and just it's staying stuck, and all of a sudden you just start feeling the G's, like, and that was just in a Porsche Cayman S. Like, I'm sure it's something you get used to, but if you're not used to it, it's kind of disorienting. Probably doesn't help that I was also going in a big circle a lot of times in a row because I was having fun. Because, like, long story short, there was a place I worked at in San Diego, and the guy always would come into the bar I worked at, and he had his Porsche Cayman S, beautiful, like that metallic blue, sparkling metallic blue, tan leather interior, matching blue wheels. I mean, just absolutely gorgeous car. And the S, of course. And then and he had like a Taurus for his daily driver, so every now and then come on about the Porsche, and we talk about the Porsche and talk about cars and all that fun stuff. And then one day he's like, hey, you get a date, you can take my car out. There's a coworker I was working with, and I was just asked her out. I'm like, hey, you want to go on a date? She's like, sure. And sure enough, the dude's like, all right, we get the car. So he gave me the car for a whole day. And the only thing he said is, if you wreck it, total it. That's all he said. And I had a lot of fun that day. I drove so much that day. It was ridiculous. I drove around San Diego County twice that day. And the funniest thing was, so I get done, right, and I've been driving his car all day. Like, I'm tired. Feels like I've driven up and down California. And I had a Miata, and the Miata's brake was where the Porsche's clutch was. Yeah, well, that's a problem when you're tired. So I'm super tired. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning, driving home. I think I'm pushing the clutch in. Well, guess what? I'm pushing the brake in. And I don't realize it because my muscle memory's still on where that Porsche's clutch was. And all of a sudden, it just feels, and I'm probably doing like 65 miles an hour, and I'm coming up to a intersection, but it's a green light. It's kind of a weird little. It's a highway that turns in, or it's a freeway that turns into a highway, kind of a deal. So I'm just slowly. I think I'm pushing the clutch, and then all of a sudden, it just feels like my front left tire is being ripped off the car, and I can't figure it out. I seriously feel like I'm having a suspension failure part. Well, so I just keep pushing the clutch in harder. Well, I'm not pushing the clutch in. I'm pushing the brake in. And the brake, there's no ABS on the Miata or anything. And so I went from like 6, I locked up the fronts. That's why it felt like I was ripping the front left off the car. And then I get down to about, I go from like 65 to 10 in about 2 feet. And then I figure out, oh, hey, genius, pushing the brake in. I ended up pushing it so hard I busted a seal on the master cylinder. I literally pushed it all the way to the floorboard thinking it was a clutch. I just laughed at myself and I went to bed. Alright, so I just did a couple laps on autopilot at horrible times. So let's actually pay attention now. See what we can do after this lap, because I already obviously threw away the first couple sectors. Just mostly, ooh, see, I felt it bottom out there. I think this might be too soft now. We'll see how it feels though. We'll see, we'll see. Might be a little presumptuous there. Especially when the fuel burns off. That front end's gonna rise a little bit more, and it did feel like it was bottoming out in the front, not so much the rear. That job was awesome. A couple people let me drive their cars after everybody, because you know it's like there's like cheers or everybody knows your name, and all these guys had their tweaked out cars, so I probably got to drive like 5 or 6 awesome cars. Craziest thing I ever drove was this dude's like, I don't remember what series BMW was, a V12 BMW, like all electronic transmission. Thing was terrifying. You'd let off the gas and it'd stay full throttle for like half a second. Just absolutely terrifying. Like 550 horsepower. But I just couldn't believe it. It was so not, you know, like sporting driver friendly. It wasn't like direct feel. You let off the gas and it stayed full throttle for just a hair, you know, a tenth or two, which is just feels like an eternity when you got 550 horsepower V12 wide open. 0.92. Thing was a convertible too. That was a pretty cool car, except for the whole not stopping the engine when you let off the gas part. Alright, still not really paying attention. Sorry, guys. See how she fills this up. Again, it bottomed out there. I don't remember it bottoming out before, so that's just from being softer. I mean, it's a little bit higher, but it's literally like 0.2 of a millimeter higher or lower than it was before. And it doesn't feel like it's better as far as dealing with the bumps. Doesn't feel like it's muted them any more than before. I'm pretty green over the top of this hill, though. Purple. Alright, so maybe we will stick with this. Because that hot lap I did was... I was moving, I thought. And it's... Like, I overdrove that, and that's the most forgiving car I've ever driven through Forest Elbow when overdriving it. Because all it really did is it got a little understeer and the whole car started just chattering out. But usually if you get too much speed in there, the rear end pops out or the front end just goes straight into the wall. But that was kind of more of like a four-wheel little slide with a... with influence towards understeer, just slightly more than oversteer. Alright, so I'm actually running a pretty solid lap with this considering I had a bad first sector. A little sideways through there, very controllable. Alright, so I'll keep running this because this is feeling pretty good, I guess. Just didn't know what I was talking about, which makes sense because I wasn't paying attention, so how can you know what you're talking about when you ain't paying attention? Oh, I've been recording 30 minutes or about half hour. Making good progress. Gonna do some high-speed testing after this run. Yeah, that's nice. See, it's not bottoming out anymore through there. Probably burn off a little bit of that fuel, raising up the front a little bit. See if it bottomed out right there a little bit. But I mean, that's such a minor bottom out. And then just floor it over there takes it really nice. Which is what you want. Takes it better in the McLaren. Up over here. I mean, it's just so stuck through there. I love it. This track, this is gonna be oof, fun week. Fun week. Fortunately, I have to go practice for COTA after this. Just like, you can't be more opposite of tracks. But sometimes you gotta do things you don't want to do. You got a Neo race coming, or Masters of Endurance race coming up. Again, minor scrapages through there. I don't know. Might be something I experiment with when I do longer runs to see how much the front end lifts up and if it does stop towards the end of the run. Or I might just increase the ride height later on. I'm not going to do that this session. That's more of a long run thing. Right now I just want to finish, probably do one more lap with this. And then start messing with high-speed dampers just to see if we can continue to make this car more compliant over bumps to the point where you barely can even feel them. Ooh, up 20 in that sector. Optimal's down to 5.2. Alright, do this lap and then we'll pull it in. Bad entry through there. That was just bad driver execution. Probably broke a little bit too early, and then I tried to compensate by letting off the brake again, and then I was just all off everything, so... Driver is failing pretty hard right now. See, oh, flat out! I just did that flat out. I had to lift before I got to it, but it's the first time I've ever been able to keep it flat out, even after a little minor lift like that. I think we got some wheel damage, boys. So I like this. I'm gonna keep this.
I'll cut this off.
Thank you, Chad. Yeah, we're gonna be dragging something, that's for sure, Chad. Bam! Oh, I did good number on that one. I swear the walls are harder at Bathurst. It's a fact. I need someone to do a hardness test on these walls because I'm pretty sure they're built with diamonds. Alright, so I'll save that, and now I am in experimentation. Oh, looks like we got some friends on the track too. Hear that? Actually, I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick. I'll be right back. Go get yourself whatever you need. Alright, now high-speed dampness. It's like this is like black magic to me still. I understand the underlying concepts, just not fully comprehending how the adjustments actually affect the car in a more A plus B equals C way. It's more like A plus B could equal C through M. Something like that. Alright, so I'm going down 9 in the front. Right now, I mean, basically my thought process is high-speed rebound dampening is supposed to, like when you roll into a corner, the springs compress, the shocks compress, that's low speed. when you hit a bump, it's like bam, that's high speed. So high speed rebounds, after it's gone up real fast, it's coming back down. So high speed rebounds, actually, I'm taking more of it out, so it's actually going to make it come down faster, because I forgot what it's called, but just think like in motocross, you're going over a bunch of whoops, right? And you hit one, your front suspension compresses. You hit another one, it compresses even more. It doesn't get enough time to come back up to its full extension. So you hit one whoop, it's all bump, 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 and eventually you get to the end, and you don't have any more suspension travel left. So now you don't have a suspension anymore. So that's why I'm thinking maybe this has too much high speed rebound. So when I'm hitting bumps, it's constantly, I think it's called jacking the front or something, but it's constantly jacking the front closer and closer to granite, and we're getting rid of our suspension, and then it just makes it, you know, happy fun time jump pit. So that's my thought process. I read a book on it. We'll see if that's what's going on right now, because I don't have a lot of high-speed compression, so there's nothing really stopping it when it's compressing. So I'm thinking there might be a problem, or maybe that's a problem. Maybe I'm not slowing it down enough on compression. So I don't know. We'll see. I just want this front end to not be like so jumpy. I mean, it's a lot better than it was when I first got the car out today, but you know, always be better. Right now, if I'm being perfectly honest, can't really notice much of a change. But if it makes me faster, I'm gonna keep it. Oh, we're going real fast right now. I'm doing it in damage control mode right there. It's one thing, you can't really push going into forest though, but you just gotta let it almost roll in there, get on the brakes nice and smooth. See, I'm getting a lot of that rear toe. See, it gets on one side and it gets there, and then it gets on the other side, it gets it. Just as long as you know it's there, you'll be fine. I mean, it's not gonna wreck you. It's just not ideal, but the car is so good everywhere else, I'm really not going to worry about it because it's completely manageable. It is very minimal. Just one of those attention to detail kinds of things. Again, up 2/10 in that sector, so I can run 205.4s pretty easy. Well, not pretty easy, but you know what I mean. I don't have to go all Peter Brock on that last corner to get the world record, you know what I'm saying? I honestly think I was born in the wrong era for auto racing. It seems like we missed the golden days. It's too sterile now. I mean, it's awesome, don't get me wrong, but back then it was more romantic. Oh man, it is so nice to that section. Huh, I wonder if I actually have a little bit more oversteer now because of that low speed rebound change. Minus 3/10 over the top of the hill, purple sector. Whew. This car's fun. It's fun in a whole different way than the McLaren, but it is fun. They're both fun cars this week. Looks like I picked the two right cars to tune this week. I'm not going to tune anything else. I got too much other stuff to do this week. Unfortunately, love to do them all every week, but I'm only one man. This really gets to that corner beautifully too.
5.88.
I might go back on the low speed rebound. It feels like it's making the car push a little bit more on entry. I need to go back to double check though, because I'm not sure. And I don't want to make the car worse right now. And I really don't notice a difference as far as being more compliant on bumps, and that's the whole reason I made the adjustment. I mean, it's not really doing me any favors going through there. Alright, I'm not gonna lift. Not gonna lift. I'm so scared right now. Ah, I missed the line. Alright, I'm gonna go back on that as that rebound change. I don't like it. So maybe we need more low speed or compression dampening. So that's what I'm gonna do. Go up 5 clips up in the front, see if I notice a difference. So maybe it's just maybe it's compressing too quickly. I don't know. Completely experimenting now. Where's that other car on track? I'm gonna drive with somebody. But no, seriously, I want to get a deserted server because I felt like this track more than any other. My laps can be inhibited over the top of the mountain, you know? So I didn't want to run into always having to check up over the top of the mountain and dodging other cars. I'm trying to compare lap time, so that's why I found an empty server. And I was too lazy to set up our own test server, so. Australia this time of day works beautifully for your own private test server. That felt good. I mean, this is the adjustment I made to the McLaren to make it a little less bouncy, so it makes sense that maybe it was just compressing the springs a little bit too quickly. I'm also going to pay attention to see if it's not pushing like it was, like I felt it last time when I thought, because of the more high-speed rebound dampening. God, that is so fun to go through that corner. Alright, I'm pretty much, I think this is it. I'm going to do a couple laps, and then call it. I can feel the bell is about ready to ring. And of course, if I'll run some more practice laps and find anything else, I'll post it on the forums. Another purple sector. Must be doing something, right? Of course, this is the first lap with really good tires. Oh, this sector is going to be like, this is going to be a good sector. Yeah, I think actually that high speed, taking a little bit out of it, actually did affect the handling of the car a little bit, which I've been a little suspect. Had a hard time believing that the high-speed rebound and the low-speed rebound are completely independent of each other and only affect a certain part of the suspension. I think like everything, they both have effects on the other, just not as large as the main adjustment you're supposed to make for whatever thing you want to adjust. Optimal's down to a 4.8. Actually, that was really nice through there. The front left was kind of just, it was going over the bumps perfectly. It felt like it was lifting off the ground a little bit, but not coming back down. It was just letting the ground come back to it, which is pretty good feeling going through there. It's really hard to explain, but it just felt like the suspension was taking the bumps perfectly. Thought it would have been faster over the hill. Whew, it is. Ooh, it was good through that freaking forest elbow. Again, this is just a second lap, so you got really good tires, but I like the way things are headed. And by George, I think we got a winner. I missed that last shift, made me miss that apex. It's alright, still personal best. 205.3 by myself. That's good. I'm happy with that. I'm just gonna call it, boys. Cause why isn't that turn traction control off? Huh. Well, I just figured something out. I gotta map my buttons correctly. They're not mapped correctly. Alright, guys. What is wrong with my left rear tire? There's like a hole in the ground there. Alright, guys. I will see you later. And this setup will be in the description box and it'll be on the forums. Alright, guys. Take it easy.